you can feel that we're getting on our front foot operationally. I think you can feel that we're starting to make progress on the places we need to improve and the issues that we have. But nobody at GE is doing a victory lap. And while we're confident on the path that we're on and the progress we're making, we're sober about the fact that we still have a lot of wood to chop, a lot of things that we need to improve at, and a lot of issues we need to address.
When you say feel as a board member, what's the feeling? In other words, what goes into that feel?
Well, if you, maybe to frame the discussion, if you think about what's happened over the last 18 months. When I joined the board was 18 people. Today it's 10 people, highly engaged, very active. The board is very facile on all the issues. It's a very strong board. This is not a board that treats the position as an honorarium. It's very much a responsibility to shareholders. We started simplifying the business, right? We've separated the transportation business and the Wabtec deal. We've publicly announced we're going to separate Baker Hughes, GE, simplifying that conglomerate
significant sale out of healthcare as well, of course.
Absolutely. Something that hasn't gotten a lot of attention, David, we've announced that we're taking the vast majority of corporate costs and we're pushing them down into the business units. And that's going to make the business less bureaucratic, faster moving, faster decision making, more dynamic. That's a very, very big deal.
Will it actually have the effect of improving margins?
Absolutely. It's going to make the business much more efficient, in my opinion.
How long does that take?
It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. That's not something you flip a switch and it happens, but it's in process. New CEO, right? First time ever an outsider CEO of GE, and not just any CEO, Larry Culp, who, many think is the best industrial CEO of the last
Do you agree with
decades.
that? I mean, now that you've had an opportunity, obviously you were instrumental in he was on the board first and then elevating him to CEO. But given what you've seen, you feel as though you're confident, obviously.
Yeah, Larry is a real leader of people. He's very strategic. He's a real operator. And the other thing that I've learned about Larry and other great CEOs, a common trait I see is a great judge of talent, right? Putting the right people in the right seats to manage the business. I think he's really good at that. And then just the last thing I would mention is the culture is evolving. And I think what I've observed at the GE culture is no tolerance for rhetoric or spin, very much grounded in reality, very humble and hungry. And I think that type of culture is going to serve all our stakeholders well.
Right. But it's still going to take quite some time. I mean, we are, to bring reality, and talking about a company that still has negative cash flow. Yeah. It's getting better, but it's still not even positive.
Yeah, look, I can give you my assessment of the issues, and my goal is not to promote the stock today, but let me give you my perspective. On cash flow, there are those who would say, the company's not worth a lot because the cash flow is negative this year, and I understand that. I'll take the other side of the debate and say you need to look at the sum of the parts. The negative cash flow is primarily related to one business, the power business, and other legacy liabilities. Our two most important businesses, aviation and healthcare, generating a lot of cash. And I would argue that those two businesses are beachfront property in the industrial landscape and very strategic. So making progress on cash flow, our goal is to get power cash flow positive. But
by when?
But I think you need to look at this from a sum of the parts perspective. And Larry's talked about power getting turned around over the next couple of years.
Right.
It's not something that happens overnight. The other issue is leverage, and clearly we have too much leverage. But I would take the point of view that we have line of sight to really bring the leverage down in line with our industrial peers. So you mentioned the sale of the life science business. We're going to monetize the Baker Hughes GE stake at some point in time. We'll monetize the Wabtec stake at some point in time.
Right.
And I think that will clearly grow the denominator in that calculation as well.
This has not gone as you might have planned originally when Trian made its first investment years ago. You know, I'm curious from your perspective, as somebody who obviously examines your mistakes and tries to fix them. When you look back at this odyssey, my words,
yeah.
What do you see as sort of what went wrong? And obviously we know what you're trying to do to make it right.
Yeah. What I would tell you is, first of all, as you know, we were asked to invest by the former management team. And in hindsight, probably had too much trust and not enough skepticism. But we told the management team at that point in time that the financial commitments that they were making to us and to the rest of the investor base, we would hold them accountable to deliver on those commitments. And at some point in time, if they didn't, we would influence corporate events and corporate behavior. And that's what we've done, and we're very focused on helping management and the rest of the board make this company best in class.
When you originally invested, long-term care, for example, the liability there was not something that was fully known at all.
Yeah.
Ended up being an enormous cost.
Yeah.
And any number of other, well, we didn't know what was going on at Power either.
Yeah.
And the execution issues there, did we?
So at Trian, as you know, we go into corporate boardrooms and we look to be a positive agent of change. And as I listed the progress that we've made over the last 18 months, I think it's clear that we've added a lot of value at GE. And this is a iconic U.S. company. It's an important U.S. company. It's a company that's important to the world. The products are important to the world. I think that it's important for us to play a role getting this company back on its feet, and we will.
And finally, Ed, how many years do you think it will take?
I don't know. We'll see. When we go on the board, David, our average duration is probably 6 or 7 years. We've been in Wendy's for close to 15 years. So we'll stay as long as it takes to make this company best in class.